Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. It's Europa League night, and Manchester United play Bodo Glimt. I said it the wrong way around. Bodo Glimt.
Don't ask me to pronounce it.
Yeah, I think it's Bodo Glimt. I'm putting a P in there, but it's not Glimt. It's Glimt. Bodo Glimt. It's just a proper awkward team name. I think they should probably change it. But anyway, we are playing them tonight, and as me and Adam were just discussing off camera, it's been a heavily rotated team. And obviously it's Ruben Amorim's first game in charge at Old Trafford, so there's a lot of kind of, stories going into this one. Starting in net is Bayern. We've got Bayern as the goalkeeper, which is a big surprise to a lot of people. I was thinking of doing like a reenactment in my head of like when he goes, okay, Bayern, you're starting tonight, and he goes, what? It's like, hey, excuse me? Like, yeah, you're in net tonight. He's like, in Europa League? He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, all right, sweet. You got Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Martinez as your back three. So Johnny Evans drops out, and Leach comes into that left-hand side. Then you have Antony as a right wing back. You've got Bruno and Ugarte in the midfield. I think, or it might be Mount and Ugarte, but I'm going with Bruno and Ugarte. Yeah. Malacia as your left wing back. And then Garnacho, Mount, and Rasmus Højlund as your front three. So that is really rotated. And, I mean, I don't even know where to start with this. We'll start with Tyrell Malacia because I think he deserves it. The guy's been out for, 550 days. The last time he started in the game, Adam, Fred was in the team. That's how long it's been. So, yeah, just chat to me about him. Obviously, the perseverance of being out for so long and then making his return. Yeah. It's a massive night for him, isn't it?
Oh, big night for him. And I'm glad it's actually a home game where he's kind of returning to as well, rather than being thrown into an away game. We don't know, obviously, all the full details on why he was out, but I heard stuff going around that he had major setbacks, multiple setbacks. And just getting him back, because I remember him before the kind of injury, he had that kind of burst of energy as well. He was quite electric, he was. And from what I remember, I think even when Shaw was there a bit too, he was given that competition to Luke Shaw as well. So he wasn't playing awful at the time. But it's hard to believe that the fact he's under a new manager now. He's probably coming back after these 550 days and he's like, whoa, what happened there? It's great to have a left full back.
Yeah, a left footer, someone who's actually got a left foot, absolutely. Because we had been starting with, we'd had, over the past couple of years, we've had, I think, Johnny Evans, who's played probably there, come on as a sub. We've had Lindelof plays a left back. We've had Amrabat. We've had Dalot. We've had Wan-Bissaka play there against Liverpool, which I remember. I'm buzzing for him, absolutely buzzing for him. You must think 550 days away from the game is a long time. You hear the old adage, don't you, that it's a new player, it's a new signing, but it's like, to be honest, it feels like it because you was talking about it and then you was, kind of naturally going into a bit of analysis, and it's not like you've really got anything to go off because you haven't seen him for so long. It's like, from what I can remember, quite tenacious, quite strong, but there was things he could work on defensively. So I suppose if you're going to bring a person back, if he's fit and ready to go, Bodo Glimt at home should be, and I will say touch wood, should be the game to bring him back in. But we've also got new adages. Bayern as well, we could touch on him in net. I think the guy's played fucking 3 games or something.
That was my guess, 3 games.
I think it's about 3. So we've always kind of asked for rotation for Bayern. Romero, I was looking at this before because I was thinking about the keepers, and I was thinking he might actually change it, but I'm not sure. But here's a stat for you. So Romero, who you remember was probably considered our best second choice goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
He had played 61 games and was there for 6 years. So on average, 10 games a season. And we was just talking about how Bayern has played 2 or 3, and he's been here. This is his second season now. Is that right? Or is this his first?
It must be. I think it's definitely his second. It has to be second.
I'm sure it is. But yeah, just chat to me about that because he's another one who'd be buzzing and surprised, won't he?
Yeah, and as you said, it's better to be thrown into this sort of game than thrown into the firing line of someone else. I'd say. People might say it's harsh on Onana, but he needs a bit of a rest too. He's been probably one of our more consistent players this season. So Bayern looking in has probably thought, here, I'm not going to have another look at all in this. So he was probably kind of thinking, oh, here we go again. It's going to be Onana, but he's been given the nudge to go now, play tonight. And I wasn't convinced on him the last time I saw him. He was a bit kind of... Was it against Leicester in the Cup, I think, with Rude?
Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, I think it was that game. He kind of worried me coming out, kind of collecting crosses and I'm going to say fisting the ball away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Careful.
Yeah, it wasn't really the full confidence, but for someone who's played maybe his third game for us, he's not going to be full of confidence yet. So but hopefully this is like the start of something, because I don't think he's a bad shot stopper. Is he that sort of player, that Ruben Amorim would like, kind of ball playing goalkeeper? Is he as good as Onana? No, but experience, he just has to get the experience now. And this is probably the best opportunity now.
Absolutely. Antony, another one. Let's talk about Antony, a guy who had been written off by the majority of the fan base and still is written off by a lot of fans as well, including a lot of people on this channel. But to have him at right wing back, he likes his wing backs to be inverted. He likes, obviously, a certain work rate off him, a demand. Can you see him being a little bit revitalised in that role? Or just a secondary player, do you think?
It's a bit of a weird one, because I'm always going to prefer a right-footed, kind of full back on the right side to cross the ball in, rather than say Antony being a left footer, heavily left foot. So we know what to expect. The only thing is, you may see Mazraoui possibly go out a bit further as well. But it's the opportunity now for him to kind of have a fresh start under a different manager, because I don't know if it's Ten Hag felt a bit of pressure. Kind of, this is his man who he decided to bring in for big money. Didn't work out, so he had that weighing over his head. But maybe now is the opportunity for him to find a kind of new role. We know he's not really the best going forward. Hasn't been for us anyway. And maybe a bit further back the pitch with this kind of full back position, which operates kind of both going forward and back. That might be suited for him, because I've seen a lot of shots or shouts at people saying, why not try him at kind of left back? It's been a kind of big discussion that a few people have been saying for quite a while, when we didn't have a left full, but it didn't come to fruition. I think the only time it was that Liverpool game you were at, when Ahmed got the winner, and Hag told him to go at left back. That was the only time we saw him kind of in a more defensive role. And from what I remember, he didn't do an awful job actually at it. So again, it's another opportunity for another player who has been wrote off, been wrote off quite early into his United career for maybe some, reasons that are valid. But it's his opportunity to shine now, and I think he doesn't have as much pressure on him, it seems, now under this fresh start. I'd like to think that, and he should think that as well. It's a fresh start, to show why you were good enough to come to the club, not necessarily for the price tag, because that's going to be always held against them, but just why your football ability was good enough to get you here. So just show it.
I mean, as the days go by, I'm trying to understand this Ruben Amorim system more and more, and look into more things, and why certain players where they are. And the wing backs one was the one I was most interested in, why they're there. And from what I understand, from what I listen to people who know much more about specific tactics than I do, obviously the wing backs there are initially positioned from a positional sense to stretch the play. Because obviously you've got a lot of numbers in the middle, you've got the narrow forwards, so you need those wing backs there to stretch the play. And then I think he likes him inverted, again, from what I understand, is the way the game is now in terms of the way teams pressure. Rather than receiving it on your right foot, if you receive it on your inverted one, you're more back to the goal, and then you can play central. That's why apparently why he likes him inverted. A lot of the play goes through the centre as well. So obviously you've got Bruno, Ugarte, Mount, and Garnacho, all as that kind of quad. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I can't explain it in a tactical depth, but in my head I kind of know what they're getting at, and I understand it. Yeah. But you've got Malacia there who isn't. So are you looking more from him to kind of bomb down the line and link up with a Rasmus or a Mount? Yeah. I mean, that's why I'm saying there's so many interesting parts, because it's just like there's players everywhere who could, like, in terms of fluid position. Garnacho, we know he works really, really hard. He could swap with Antony at times. You've got Bruno, who could swap with Mason Mount. The one thing I'll say, and I know I'm rambling here, but Nashua Mazraoui as a right centre back, the guy could play anywhere. He's a chameleon. Yeah. But I actually think he's a little bit wasted. I think it is. I think I like to see him further, maybe as a wing back, just because of how good he. I don't know what you think about that.
No, he's been by far probably our most consistent player this season, I'd say. Up there with Onana, them two. If you go through like even the ratings, like on all these apps like SofaScore and that, he's always had a consistent rating, and his stats have always been good as well. And he's played in multiple positions. He kind of reminds me of that. I know he came from Bayern Munich. You have that kind of Philip Lahm. You had what's his name?
Kimmich.
Who was big? Yeah, Kimmich.
Kimmich.
Literally a carbon copy. He can play nearly anywhere he can, and he seems to do the job. I'm not going to lie. Couldn't imagine him playing at centre back. I just didn't think of it. I didn't think he'd play there, but he's obviously come into the role.
If you look at his stats, though, Adam, like 1v1 and tackling is right up there with like some of the best in the league. Like he's quite competent defending wide channels. Maybe not in the back four. I don't. It won't work in the back four for sure, but with a back three, it seems to be decent.
It works. And I remember that was one of the main criticisms of him as well when we got rid of Wan-Bissaka, because he was obviously really, really good one-on-one defender. But it seems like he, as you said, he's putting up the stats, showing that he is a good defender as well. And we actually made money on that deal as well. We sold Wan-Bissaka and bought him for less. And it's been just a massive upgrade. And that's nothing against Wan-Bissaka. He's played really, really well for us.
Hey, scored against Newcastle on Monday night. Wan-Bissaka, did you see that? Crazy.
I did, yeah. I think that's his second goal against them as well. Because I remember he scored quite a good one for us. But Mazraoui, I would like to see him kind of in that right full position as well, because I think he has a good cross on him as well. But Ruben sees something in him that's playing at right centre back. Will that change once we see Lenny Yoro, come back full? I think that could be an opportunity then for him to play on the right full back. But then you have to wonder, Dalot, I think, hasn't been the best. He's been a bit inconsistent for quite a bit of time. Will he work out? I'm not too sure. So he's going to probably have to get used to the bench then.
Yeah, I think that the wing-back's going to have a lot of the ball today, because what Ruben Amorim likes to do, again, from what I've seen, because there is an overload centrally, you get the centre-backs playing those long balls into the wing-backs, and then the wing-backs will work with a Mount down the left-hand side. We actually saw training footage and clips of those two, Malacia and Mason Mount, together. It looked like they had quite a good kind of partnership, so I'm interested to see how that flourishes. But just quickly sticking with the back line, in a month's time, let's say when he's played all the players together and we've had quite a few games, who do you think is going to be that back three? Like the definite, like the first team back three, if you will?
You see, it's a weird one because it depends how Euro does, I reckon. I reckon I can see Euro, De Ligt and Martinez, and I think that's a really, really good back three.
I think so. Yeah.
I think a really, really solid back three. And then if you put someone like Mazraoui out in right full, and then I know it's been a while, Luke Shaw, someone like that, who can kind of play there. Like
I'd have Luke Shaw there, Adam, over Martinez.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you why? Because I think, let's say if both of them, you put them in a cryo chamber and Luke Shaw just stays fit for a full season. Yeah. The reason why I would put Luke Shaw there is because I think on the ball, I won't say he's as good as Martinez, but he's definitely competent on the ball, at pinging it about wherever it is. So on that sense, he don't lose too much in the ball progression, although Martinez is elite in this. But physically, he's quicker. A lot of people describe him as one of the quickest in the team. He's one of the strongest in the team as well. And when you're defending those kind of wide channels, you have to have those qualities with you. On the ball, it's not too bad for build-up or whatever with Martinez. But I think defensively, when a ball goes into a Salah, let's say, for example, in that channel, or whoever it is you're coming up against, I don't necessarily trust Lisandro Martinez there, because I watched the Porto game. And
that Porto game I was going to mention.
That was like a prime example of him defending wide channels. I'm just not comfortable with it. He might stick with Martinez because you can't put too much trust in Shaw, but that's why I would prefer Shaw there, personally.
No, that is a good shout, because I remember that Porto game and I remember thinking, okay, he's not that fast. He's not as fast as I remember him being. Yeah. I don't know if that's the injury, and De Ligt isn't the fastest too. And personally, I think you play your slowest in the middle, you do, and then you have your two quicker ones on either side. And I reckon that is a good shout, actually. So could it be a case of who's going to be the left full back then? If Luke Shaw is going to be playing that role, who are we going to have then? I reckon we need to go into the market and get a left full, though. It's been obvious now for some time.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. I think they will do that. Before we go into the rest of the team, there's loads of comments, so I just want to go into those. If you are just joining and you're excited for the game tonight and you're excited to see Adam back on the show, smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Alex saying Malacia is alive. I heard Malacia looked like the pirate out of Family Guy. Apparently, that's very random.
There's a head full of hair now.
Yeah, what's the pirate from Family Guy? Doesn't he have like two wooden legs and he's a white guy with a patch? I'm pretty sure. From Family Guy, what's his name now? It's like Peg Leg something. Is it something? I think it is. I'm pretty sure. What's his name?
I'm gonna look him up. Family Guy pirate.
Google his name. I forgot the guy's name, man.
Seamus.
Seamus. Of course it is.
Seamus.
Yeah, you should have known that.
I should have.
You should have known that.
Seamus Levine.
Yeah, very mad comparison, but I'll take it. Rubiat Fardin says, I hope to God that Mount Malacia get through today unharmed. Is full-time going to be mad? Is FT going to be mad about Ghana starting again? Who's FT?
Football Twitter, I think.
Ah, interesting. Didn't get the acronym.
Probably,
yeah. McMillan saying Ruben Deeper gives him the ability to control the tempo. And Ruben Amorim, you know about? Ruben Deeper gives him the ability to control the tempo and be a deeper creator facilitator. Scholes-esque when he went deeper. Mount ahead of Bruno, create space for Ugarte, for Bruno to run into. I don't get that comment. I don't know if it's just me or my mind.
I think he's talking about Ruben's deploying Bruno deeper, so it gives him the ability to control the tempo.
Okay, that makes
kind of like
sense.
Scholes.
Oh, Bruno, not Ruben, I mean. Oh, right, okay, I'm with you. Yeah, sorry. Just comments all over the place. Almost had a stroke reading that. Lumen, it's a brilliant lineup. A lineup of fans, brilliant. I'm not happy about Ahmad not starting. Well, let me tell you, UTFR, you're not the only one because we'll go back to it in a moment. But I had a screen. I don't know if it's set up for Amad Diallo. I don't know why it's like that, but I had a screen set up for Amad Diallo basically because I wanted to talk about him, but he's not starting, so that's kind of a wasted stat pack on him. But we might revisit it shortly. These graphics are catching me by surprise every time. That's from Shreyas. Big up Shreyas. Keep burping. No Bruno. I'd be benching Garnacho. Trincao was a winger and he plays number 10 now. Consalves started as a winger as well. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Keep getting them in your opinions as we go through the topics. Into the forward line, Adam, obviously against Ipswich, started off with a bang with Marcus Rashford and great work from Ahmad. But in general, the season's been really, really dry for goals. So who do you think, potential-wise, can take this scoring mantle? Because it is pretty shit at the minute, isn't it? To, call a spade a spade.
It is. It's not going well. And that's been our problem for a large part in recent years. We've got rid of so many experienced strikers. When you think about it, like the players that we've had, say, in the last, how far are we going to go back? Just say 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Like the likes we've had Ronaldo, we've had Cavani, we've had Ibrahimovic around that time, wasn't it? Yeah, it would have been around then towards the end.
Ronaldo.
Oh, jeez. The list goes on. We've had so much experienced strikers and, we were scoring goals. We were getting some goals. So it didn't seem to be an awful problem. What our problem was defence. And when we fix our defence, our strikers can't score. That's the issue now. It's like it's flipped. So, like, who do you trust? Naturally, I'd probably trust Højlund a bit more than Xerxes. Like, whenever I've seen Xerxes play, I don't know how he's managed to actually get to United. And that was an Ineos kind of signing too, from what I remember. They kind of pushed more for that. And like from what I heard, he arrived overweight, all this a stone overweight.
Do you know who put that article out though, Adam?
Yeah, go on. I'd probably take it with a pinch of salt. Was it Neil Custard, was it? There we go.
There you go.
Had that feeling it was someone
Need
like
I
that.
say any more with that?
Well, maybe he's the right man to talk about, like,
weight in general.
I suppose
probably.
weight in general, yeah.
Yeah. I don't want him to be like me. I don't want to turn into me. It'll take him about 5 years, mate, just to get up to you, fucking Neil Custard. But you've actually seen Xerxes. He's quite shredded. He's not like... He looks thick.
Oh, no, he's not.
But he's quite shredded. I think the more issue with Xerxes I take is the fact that he's quite slow. That's what I watch. Like, he ain't beating a man for pace. He kind of, when he gets about the pitch, he looks like he has got like something tied to him with loads of weights, like dumbbells, so it does look a little bit slow. That's the one worry I have with him. And I don't think I look at Højlund and Xerxes at the moment, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see 20 plus goals.
No,
that's the issue.
One of the issues I see is you need to be athletic to be a footballer these days, and he just doesn't seem athletic. There is a difference between he's shredded, he's a good build, but he's not an athlete nearly. If you get what I kind of mean, you have to be athletic, and it seems like he hasn't developed that fully yet. Because you can go down to the gym, there can be people who are great physiques, but they're not athletic. They're not.
Yeah.
And in football, you have to be athletic, and that's one of the big differences. And then he's finishing. What game was it? Was it there against Ipswich? He came on and he kind of got to the edge of the box on his right foot.
Oh, that was awful! That shocking attempt. There's been a couple like that though.
Yeah. And I know he's had bits of unluckiness here and there, but we need to start putting the ball in the back of the net. And one of the reasons I think the front three haven't really developed this kind of partnership yet. It just doesn't seem to be fluid. It doesn't seem to be working. So maybe this is an opportunity. He has Garnacho, what we presume is Mount and Højlund. Like, I know they're all different types of players there, but maybe something can gel. Like a lot of the time when it looks like something doesn't work on paper, it actually can when they're on the pitch. And it's happened so many times in our history with the likes of, say, wasn't it Cole and York? That was the one. He was meant to be coming in, being his replacement, but the two of them worked together really well. So you never know. We might find an unlikely partnership there. I know the two of them were playing against Ipswich. Then we kind of swapped to two strikers. Well, I know one was more deployed on the right, but it didn't seem to work. So I think having the one striker, we really need someone who can find the back of the net. And I'm looking at the market now. We've said it for years. I don't know how long me and you have been saying that the market hasn't been the best. There's only one target I can think now, and that's his old Sporting striker now at the moment. That's the only kind of player I can think of right now.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of competition for him as well.
There will be.
In the summer.
It's a weird one. Work with him.
Because obviously Amorim's worked with him, you do have that advantage. But then you also have the other clubs, like your Arsenals or whoever's are going up saying, we're in the Champions League, we're genuinely competing. Maybe not this season for the league, but you have teams like that. And what's also the killer for me as well, you've got Liverpool, who just beat Madrid last night, kept a clean sheet, and all of their attackers are flying. I mean, I watched Darwin Núñez had a good performance yesterday. Salah's looking decent. Diaz has been flying all season. They've got multiple forwards who are going to end up in double digits. I'm looking at our forwards in a minute, and I'm like, I don't know if any of them are going to end up in double digits the way they're performing at the moment. And if they do, so Garnacho, I think, has the most goal involvements for us. I think he's got 6 and then a few assists, let's say. But quite a few of them, let's say, was against Barnsley. A couple against, another team who you'd expect to score a couple, like a Leicester when we beat them. 5-2 or whatever it was. So we need that. But we don't have one player who's putting out that kind of output at the moment. So that's a big, big worry for me. In terms of the competition in itself, do you think this is probably the easiest year you could win it? Because you don't have teams who can drop down from the Champions League. And the favourites for it at the moment, I think, are like Spurs.
Spurs and I think us, we're kind of up there.
Yeah, I think Lazio are at the top at the minute, with Ajax who were second. But, I mean, you should be going to win that, shouldn't you, if you're United?
I should. Yeah, looking at that, the toughest competition is Spurs. I know they beat Man City 4-0.
And beat us.
A freak result there. Yeah, and they beat us, okay, fair play to them. But, it's Spurs at the end of the day. And trophies, it doesn't agree with them. It doesn't. The only thing is, will they get to a point where they kind of bottle things? But we're not putting the best form up in this competition.
No.
I think, what do we have? 3 draws and a win, is it?
Yeah, so drew against Porto, drew against FC Twente, drew against Fenerbahce, and we beat PAOK under Nistelrooy, didn't we?
Yeah. So this is what we need to start getting points on the board now. We do, because we're, I think, at the lower part, and we technically qualify for the playoff?
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's how it goes. Yeah. So it's an extra round of games basically. And why do you want to be adding more games into an already, I suppose, fixture list that's so fucking much? So you're at a disadvantage already, because that's 180 minutes minimum of football extra over the team that you're going to be going up against. And it does in the later part of the season, you feel it in your legs. We saw the amount of times our players are being burned out at the end of a season. I definitely see the competition as probably our best way getting into the Champions League. It has to be. And
sorry, go on.
I was just going to say as well, it's probably a good start. It would be for someone like Ruben Amorim. I think I said it at the start of the season. If we were to get to the stage of, win a Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, it's kind of a little bit of a step from the previous. You win a European competition. We've won then 3 trophies in the last 3 seasons. And we're in the Champions League again. Then you start again in the summer. But we want to be challenging for the title at the end of the day, and we need to kind of start building our team. But right now, given the way the season's gone, it's our best way into the Champions League. But I wouldn't have said that probably a month and a half ago, which is a weird one because the way the league is kind of gone, when I look at the table, we're not that far behind, which is crazy. How shite we've been.
I know.
And then Arteta's Arsenal are only a couple of points ahead of us.
You think if we would have beat Ipswich, you would have started. Yeah. That's one reason why I was a little bit annoyed, because I was like, I wanted to win in Amorim's first game. You get that confidence, and then you can take it and have at least a little bit of a bounce. Until inevitably it crumbles a little bit, and you come up against your big teams. But you was referencing Porto and Fenerbahce and teams there, and obviously a lot of the games in this competition for us had been difficult or tricky, just awkward to watch at times. You just knew we was always going to concede. So what do you think the changes are going to be, in terms of the comparison, how we played in Europe under 10, because his record was 1 win in 9, to how we're going to play under Amorim? Do you have obviously more confidence and faith that he'll kind of print out a much better record?
Well, it's hard to get a worse record, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Than that. The time under Ten Hag in Europe, that was one of the few. It's a weird, kind of like an enigma, because in cup competitions, he seemed to have a really, really good record. He did, particularly knockout stages. But for whatever it was in Europe, it just didn't work. And we obviously had the one big result. It was against Barcelona, and that was a great night. It was. But when I'm trying to think back then, the disappointment then, you beat Barcelona. You should be going on winning that competition then. We should have gone on and won that.
They won the league that year, didn't they? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they won it under Xavi that time. So it wasn't like it was a bad Barcelona team. They were up against a good Real Madrid team as well in the league, and they still managed to beat them to the title. I can't even remember who knocked us out that season.
Sevilla, wasn't it?
Europa League. Was it? That was... Oh, yeah, that was De Gea. That was the end of De Gea, wasn't it?
Was that the same season?
Was that the same season?
Yeah, pretty sure.
I think it was.
That was when Sevilla in the quarterfinal, because I remember Sabitzer scoring a couple of times against Sevilla, and then I think in the follow-up leg they beat us. Was it 3-0 or something?
3 or 4-1.
And that El Nesri, who plays for Fenerbahce now, I'm sure he scored, because they had a fucking when he went to trap the ball, didn't it? He just went fucking miles behind him, and a load of other shit. I think it was Sevilla who knocked us out in the quarters, which is disappointing.
So we haven't had really a good record in Europe for a number of years now. So I think it's hard to have a worse one. And it seems like whenever, Ruben Sporting have gone into Europe, it's a big night and a big event for them. And he seems to set up tactically very, very well. So I'm hoping he kind of brings that to us. So I think he can have a better record. And now is a good opportunity. How many more games do we have in this kind of league format? Well,
we play 8 in total, and I think we played 4. So wait, Porto, FC 20, Fenerbahce, and PAOK. So we played 4. So we've got another 4. I think we play Bodo Glimt, we play Rangers, and then there's 2 more. I can't remember the other 2.
There's 2 more.
So
we're about halfway through. We are. So he is kind of a bit of a fresh start. There's still 12 points up for grabs.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it, like the teams that you've mentioned there, there's no doubt we should be winning the rest. I don't know who the final 2 were against. I have to double check that.
I think off the top of my head now. I know we got maybe USG are in there potentially.
Yeah.
Go on, you keep talking. I'll have a look for you now.
Yeah. So it's no disrespect against the opposition, because you've seen the results we've had in Europe in the last 2 years, but we should be getting the 12 points on the board. And those 12 points bring us up to what I would hope would be automatic qualification.
Right.
So
sorry, we play Bodo Glimt tonight, then we play Victoria Pleasant away, which would be
difficult enough game.
Difficult, just away game. It's one of those. And then we got Rangers at home, which is an interesting one. And then we have FCSB, who I had never heard of. I think they're a Romanian team or something, potentially.
I thought you said the FSB.
Fifth in the in the Super League, or I think they're like I don't know, but regardless, whichever way you look at it, those runner games in the Europa League, you should be beating them. Do you know what I mean? You should be going to beat them. But I like how you referenced Amorim with Sporting in Europe, because obviously his last game in Europe was against Manchester City, where he beat him 4-1. But in that specific game, and I know we've got a couple of Sporting fans in the chat because I see the names. They were quite happy at times to sit back and be pragmatic, and just stay in the shape and hit them at times with Gyökeres and Trincao and these kind of guys. But the thing is, when you do that, you need your attackers to score goals, and we don't have anyone like a Gyökeres who's flying at the minute or putting goals in the back of the net. So when you do get those transitions, we're not going to do that tonight against Bodo Glimt. We'll dominate possession. But we're talking about the bigger games when you advance in the Europa League and you get further, if we do get further.
Especially away games.
Yeah, they're the ones where I'm like... Because I think that a real big issue in this team at the minute, and it was so identifiable under Erik ten Hag, a lot of the centre-backs, or a lot of the defenders, midfielders, they lack mobility. So Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Matthias de Ligt at times, Johnny Evans as a left centre-back. I think that was one of the biggest issues against Ipswich, because what he would do, he didn't know whether to press or drop off. And Casemiro had the exact same issue. So Hutchinson, in those little pockets of space, he could just manipulate and work it, and that's how they'd affect us. So I don't know how you sort that out.
Jamie Carragher done a great Jamie Carragher done a great breakdown.
Great piece on it, especially Casemiro when Amorim's kind of
he was
talking
looking behind.
Yeah,
he kept looking behind. He felt uncomfortable going forward, and maybe that's the reason why you're seeing that midfield tonight. Yeah, actually, a bit more energy, kind of who will press a bit better.
Yeah.
So like that, I suppose 4 in the middle you would call it. You would call 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever.
Who knows? Come up with a new name every day, aren't we? It feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So them 3, they're quite athletic, and they're going to run. I don't know about Malacia. That's the only thing. It's his first game back, but from what I remember of him, he could run all day. He could. Yeah. So they're athletes in that midfield, and you need that if you're going to be pressing.
But me and Chivy have been going back and forth on this for a while, because he was like, I don't think we need runners. I think we have good footballers. It's just the system under ten Hag, and I feel like maybe we were both right, because obviously the system under ten Hag was very stretched. You had the amount of ground that Casemiro and Kobe had to cover at times was just ridiculous. So he's right in that sense. But I mean, I want athletes in there. You look at Liverpool's midfield at the moment with Gravenberch and McAllister and Szoboszlai. I look at how they played at Old Trafford, just run, and they can cover space. And when you play an Eriksen and Casemiro in there, the amount you lose out on that. So it's not even about necessarily pressing at times. It's just being in the right area at the right times. And if you're not mobile enough to get back in there or get back in shape, and you give teams a split couple of seconds, they'll punish you in those areas. So I think... I was speaking to Sam about this. I think you need to bring in individual profiles who suit it. So Yoro, we've spoken about before, he is someone who's more than comfortable defending wide channels than any players. And he's quick and he's strong. That's fine. The left-sided one is why I referenced Shaw before, because I don't know if Martinez can do it. Now, we won't be troubled tonight because, like I said, it's Bodo Glimt. I don't think he will, or he should.
Big games.
But when you play the big games, I mean, we play Spurs, Arsenal, and City in December.
City.
I think
maybe we're getting City at a good time, though. That's the only thing.
Maybe. I don't know, because it's always like, you know, when a team's been battered for so long.
When you put a cat in a corner, it's gonna.
They'll bite back at a certain point.
Yeah, they'll bite back.
And you don't want to be bit by Man City when they turn it on and turn the screw, because more likelihood it's going to be a 4 or 5-0 or something ridiculous. And but Amorim's beaten before, so that's, if you're going to take any kind of form of confidence out of that, then it is. Give me your one to watch for this game, Adam, because I did have Ahmad because I thought he was going to start, and I had a couple of stats on him. But just give us yours, and then I'll give you a couple of stat packs on Ahmad.
Kind of looking at the team. a player that I'm kind of interested in seeing now how he does is probably Matt, just because there's been he's been so underwhelming, and he's a bit more. It seems like freedom now going into this. So we don't know if he's in the midfield, if he's kind of playing more forward, but I can imagine he's playing more forward because that's where he kind of played in Chelsea with Chelsea, kind of a lot more forward. So he is a player that can kind of play either side, anywhere across the midfield. So he'd be kind of the player to watch now. I think he's due a good performance, and maybe he sees this as an opportunity kind of to start a bit of a run. Just can he hold the injuries off? That's the only thing.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Because I think he could be a really important player in this system. And he's playing in the same position that Ahmad would have been playing. Now, obviously, still on the bench, and he'll probably get minutes. But Ahmad, 2 goals in 4 games in Europe, played a total of 800 minutes, I think, for Manchester United, which isn't a lot considering the games we've played so far. He's created more chances than any other Man United winger across all competitions this season. And against Ipswich, he was ranked first for 5 attempted take-ons, 5 clearances, 2 chances created, 2 fouls, 1 big chance created, and 1 assist. So he's putting the numbers up as well as his performance. But you don't necessarily need metrics with Ahmad. Just the eye test, he passes
the eye test
every time. I don't want to see our best attacker at wing back. That's something that I'm struggling with at the moment. I want to see him in one of those 10 positions. So hopefully he gets some minutes there today. But I also at the same time I like how he's rotated, because I think players deserve a clean slate and a chance to let's see what they're about in this system. So it's fresh, it's exciting, and yeah. Just before we'll discuss Bodo a little bit, I'm just going to read out some comments because again there's loads and I don't want to ignore him. I appreciate there's been some there for quite a while. Let's have a look. Ahmad will play against Everton. Amorim rotation helps him to train and learn the system, and players who played get sufficient rest, unlike how Eric Ten Hag used them. Less injuries this way. Thank you for that, Macmillan. Shreyas, I've already read that out. Sorry. No Bruno, I'd be benching Garnacho. That's an interesting one. Quenda is a winger and he's a wing back, possibly Sporting's best player behind Gyökeres, but that release clause. Have you seen his release clause, Adam? Quenda for Sporting? Like 80 million or something, I think it is. Which he would actually go down as the most expensive wing back or right back. Is that right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure. I know Gavardio was 90, but he was brought in initially as a centre back, wasn't he? He weren't brought in as a left back.
No.
So I think he'd go down as the most expensive thing, which I'm like, it's a lot of pressure for a player.
How much was Kyle Walker?
50, I think.
50, I thought it was around 50, yeah. So he must be up there with the most expensive, is he?
Yeah, I think so. I'm trying to think of other ones, but yeah, it must be. Shreyas, do we think Malacia can get back to being a go-to option as a wing back? Thoughts on that?
Well, again, it depends. Like every time he's tried to come back, he's had a setback. And this is probably his best opportunity to get a run because there's no competition at that position at the moment. So he's the only option really there. Now we have seen, I know Mazraoui kind of play that side, but that was under Ten Hag. But this is his best opportunity under a new manager. Just impress the new manager and you have no competition. So he should be. Like he has no excuse not to.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I hope he does because, like I said, we've touched on it before, kind of. But the guy's been waiting so long to just play a game of like first team football. It'll be mega exciting tonight. And sometimes as well, you see players coming back from a long-term injury, and because they're so excited mentally, they almost exhaust themselves before they even get on the pitch. They're just that excited and they've got goosebumps again and nerves and like they don't quite know how to manage it. So whether he'll play a full 90 minutes or not is kind of like. I don't think he should. I think maybe bring on Luke Shaw for the last, see how he does in the wing back role potentially. You've got to really manage the minutes, but I trust Ruben Amorim to do that.
I never actually looked at the bench when I think of it.
Yeah, we're not spoke about that. I can bring it up. There's got quotes coming in from Bruno and Amorim as well. But in terms of the bench, I'll tell you now. Wait, what's going on here? Why is it saying Onana in net?
Oh yeah, it's why is Onana actually in net? Is he? Let's see.
I'm sure the lineup when it came out, it said, Onana's in net now. Oh, I feel sorry for him.
Oh, he is.
Oh,
there goes our 10-minute segment at the start.
Yeah, we speak about how great it is for him and how he got the text and the call up. Sorry, Bayern did. I thought the first initial leak that came out of the team, which is usually pretty reliable, it had Bayern in net. That's why I was so surprised, because he never gets an opportunity to play. That's madness. So yeah, apparently Onana in net. I mean, you can look at the flip side of that coin and you can say, well, he's been that good. Do you really want to, necessarily take the rhythm out of his game with the goalkeeper? But I just think he does deserve some more minutes, man. It's a bit harsh to do that to him.
Does.
But whilst I am putting Onana back in the team, talk to me about Bodo. Any worries at all about them today, Adam?
I'm going to be honest. I ain't no expert.
No, I'm not. I'm not expecting any expert analysis. That's a chivvy answer. Yeah. That's what we call it. Yeah.
But how are they in terms of the standings? They're ahead of us. They're a point ahead of us.
Yeah.
They're on 7 points. We're on 6.
Yeah.
And just kind of going into their recent I suppose matches in the competition. They won 2-0. They drew 2-2. They lost. I can never pronounce that. Karabag, is it? Or
Karabag, yeah. It does sound. It sounds like a COD map, that, doesn't it?
It does actually. Yeah. Reminds me of Karachi for whatever reason.
Yeah. Or Quarry. Is that a mix of both?
Or Quarry, yeah.
Yeah.
But so, in terms of their competition to have, this is their biggest game. It is so far their biggest test.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about because they can win the championship, I think, potentially this weekend. So there was actually talks of rotation for him coming into this one, which is crazy. You touched on it there. They've won 2, drawn 1, won 1 as well. Yeah. Lost to Karabag, but they beat Braga, drew against USG, and beat Porto. But I've just seen clips of the fans in the stadium. An amazing day for them, innit?
Oh, it is, especially for these kind of, I don't want to say smaller clubs, whatever, like this, but having the opportunity to actually come to Old Trafford, I can't imagine trying to get tickets for that, with those fan bases.
Oh yeah. Well, their stadium,
gold dust.
Their stadium, I think, the capacity is 6K, and they've brought 6,000 to Old Trafford.
That says everything, doesn't it?
Madness.
The only downside is what I miss about the group stages is they'd get the return fixture. Yeah. So they get United coming to their ground, and that takes a little bit of the magic kind of away, because those sometimes are the very tricky games there, and the revenue that they get from that. And from what I see, they don't have really any kind of massive club like our stature coming to their ground. So that again, in theory, does affect revenue. So they get their big day, they do, but they don't get the return one, which is why I'm trying to like this new format. I'm just finding it difficult. Maybe I'm kind of old school. I like the group stages, but no, I don't know where they're going to kind of target us, and then looking at the odds, 9-1 to win kind of says everything.
But the reason why I asked is because Porto drew, FC20 drew, Fenerbahce drew. So it's not out of the realms of possibility. I know maybe in the coefficient they might be a little bit lower than those teams discussed. But when a team comes to Old Trafford, I think Ammonia nearly left with a point. Teams like that have given. Copenhagen have beaten us. Obviously they're probably higher than the other teams mentioned, but just in general, it does have that feeling. United in Europe do struggle against teams where you don't really expect it. So when you have a team that come play on the counter attack and a little bit, stodged in the middle, they don't really offer much. They're the worries with me. Not that they're going to beat us 3 or 4-0, just that they make it awkward to watch. And I want a good game tonight rather than a tricky one.
Exactly, yeah. I just wanted something that's good on the eyes, I suppose. I don't want to be tense most of the game. We need to start getting points on the board in the Europa League, because for too long we've been just so bad in Europe. I just want to kind of change, even if it's to start with this competition, get a bit far in it, build a bit of excitement. Because I think, as you pointed out earlier, it is our best opportunity as well. Because there isn't any big teams. You don't have that drop off from the Champions League where you may have a big club or two coming in. You might get, say, someone like Atletico Madrid drop in, and then suddenly they become one of the heavy favourites. You don't have any of that. You don't. You have how many teams is it? 36, I think it is.
Yeah.
36 teams. And the biggest you're looking at, Lazio, Spurs,
Roma.
I suppose Roma, they've been very
But
bad, I
they've
know,
been
this
shit.
season, though.
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah,
talking names
like,
wise in terms of status or stature of club. They're the biggest ones. That's
exactly.
what you should be going to win this. It's a massive opportunity, I think. Not this
Exactly.
game, just the tournament, I think.
The tournament
Honestly.
overall, yeah, rather than the games.
Yeah.
Like, the tournament is the best opportunity, and it's a European title at the end of the day. And right now, I just want to get as many major honors as possible. Like, even when we're being bad, we've managed to win a trophy here and there.
Mm-hmm.
We've never. I know we went through a period without kind of winning a trophy for a while, but we've never done, like, was it an Arsenal day where how long was it? I can't
Well,
remember.
how long without a trophy, do you mean?
Yeah,
So obviously they won the
quite
COVID
some
Cup, didn't
time.
they, in Arteta's first season, which
Yeah.
he basically won. Why can't I see you on the
Mhm.
screen? What's going on here?
Wenger won the FA Cup. That was didn't he? Wasn't that after a drought of, like, was it over 10 years?
Yeah,
Did he win
sorry.
the FA Cup?
Why is it? Oh, it's okay. You're on screen. You went off screen for a moment, and I was like, "Are we just been talking
Oh,
without anything?" Sorry, yeah. So Arsenal, they won the COVID Cup with, obviously with Arteta. That was, but prior to that, they hadn't won a league in 20 years. I don't think.
no.
It was like early 2000s when they won the last one, wasn't it? I think something along like that.
2004 or three.
Maybe a bit before that, yeah, a little bit before that, because you had Mourinho who came in.
Mourinho, that's what I was thinking. Yeah,
2004 to 5, I think, when he won a couple of league
hmm
titles. But I think it was like early after we won the treble for a couple of years. I think we went
like
quiet
20.
a little bit.
Yeah,
So
2002 probably.
yeah, roughly around there. But look, yeah, I take your point there. A lot of teams around us, although they had been kind of slagging us off and saying like,
Yeah,
"Oh, look at where we are, look at what we're doing." The amount of trophies still that we've won, whilst we've been shit, by the way, is
yeah.
more than all of your clubs, more than your Arteta who's there at the minute, more than any Spurs that have won
Yeah,
at all. So it's something in it, I suppose, having those
it is.
cups.
It's something to take. Like, I think we've been in the last 10 years. I know we've been awful, but in the last 10 years, we probably won the third most.
Mm.
Definitely, at least the third most in England. Probably behind City, Liverpool. That's it. But I say we're nearly on par with Liverpool. I know they've won the bigger titles to have, okay, but
Mm.
we've still managed to kind of put the major honors up. But this is an opportunity to add it, and especially I think Ruben will be looking at that as well, because this is his best opportunity for silverware. I know he's the cup competition still in England, but in terms of the opposition, you're going to face difficult ones in the latter stages of that. In this, you're looking at Spurs. That's it.
Mm. Yeah, correct. We went to go to the bench before and we got sidetracked because
Oh
Onana
yeah.
wasn't on there. So I've got the bench here in front of me. We've got Bayern, Deer, Heaton, Dalot, Shaw, Casemiro, Ericsson, Mainu, Ahmad, Rashford, Xerxes. Who would you want to see off the bench tonight, Adam?
Definitely Diallo. He's played really, really well. You went with the stats earlier. I'd like to see Kobe Manu get a few minutes later on as well, because it's been a while since we've seen him play, and when he's played, he's always been head and shoulders above everybody else, especially in that midfield. I think we kind of need that energy. It could be a case of you may see Mount go out off later on, and then Bruno might go to that position, and then Manu might go into the midfield. Ericsson is a bit of a shout, but I suppose if you're going to bring one of them on, I'd rather see Manu. I don't want to see Xerxes. I want to see Luke Shaw, though, to see whether it's at that kind of fullback position or the left centre back. I kind of want to see that, see how he does. And if we need a goal, I suppose try and bring Rashford on, put him through the middle.
Yeah, I'd like to see that as well. And I think against teams like this, again, with all due respect, you should be going 1 or 2 goals up where you have the luxury to bring players on and change it. So yeah. A couple of quotes coming in from Ruben Amorim. I'm gonna try to put them in order, but I don't think they're gonna be, so we'll just go through. It says, in the last game against Ipswich, we managed to do it in the second half, but we were not so dangerous, so we have to be more complete as a team, and we try to do it step by step, and we will try to manage to win the game in the first hour of the performance, which is quite confident. When you coach a team like United, you have to have the ball, you have to be dominant, so we'll try to do that. I think it's important to run a lot because this team, Bodo Glimt, they run a lot, and they are also very good on the ball, so we have to choose the right moments to press. On Antony, said you talk about Antony, Brazilian international, and then you talk about Malacia, a Dutch international, so they are international players, they're United players, they are ready to cope with the demands of the game. I've seen quite a few of the pundits, the comments online, worried about those at wing-back. Do you share any of those worries?
I think looking at the opposition, I don't think we should be kind of worried. I know it's Malacia's first game back, so he might be a bit rusty, but I suppose it's either side. You have Dallo who could get thrown in if he chooses to go with kind of someone who's had a bit of game time rather than Luke Shaw. But I won't be worried, especially given the three that are behind. I know out of the three, probably the one that worries me the most will be Martinez there. So maybe the left side, I think Malacia is going to have to be very switched on tonight because Martinez hasn't really been the best this season. But they wouldn't worry me that much looking at the opposition, like who you're against.
Shouldn't is the key word. It shouldn't worry
That's
us.
the thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we've said that in Europe in the last 2 years. Shouldn't worry us, and we've gone there. And one of the better performances then when you're kind of worried. I know we still lost, but we played better than I thought was the Bayern Munich game that we lost 4-3.
Yeah, it's
played better in that than the other ones.
Yeah, it's been a tough all ride in Europe. I'm for one, I'm not necessarily worried about the wing back. That they were the areas that I was like, oh, I think that could be tricky. And I don't think they're going to play a full 90 minutes either. So I think Amorim knows what he's doing. But I suppose we'll just have to wait and see, how the game plays out. Let's do our score predictions, Adam, and let's do things you potentially see happening in this game. So if we're going to say we're creating our own betting slip here, which I actually have Bet365. I'm going to put mine on in a moment, actually. But what do you think is going to happen in this game?
Okay, I'm going to look at their team. Just that shout that we mentioned about Malacia maybe not being, I suppose, match sharp yet, and Martinez not playing really the best. So I can maybe see their rifle getting a goal. I think 3-1 United. And I think that I'm going to call him Philip because that's his first name, and I'm not even going to try and
I'd like to hear his second name, please, if you can. Go on.
Zinkernagel.
There you go. Sounds German.
I think that. Yeah. So where is he actually from? Is he from? He's probably. Oh, he's from
his
Denmark.
Name's Philip Zinkernagel.
Zinkernagel, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, Zinkermagel.
Danish.
Yeah, Philip Zinkernagel. That's the one.
So I think he's going to get a goal. I think we'll win. I think we'll score first. I can see Højlund getting a goal. I think tonight kind of suits him. So I reckon he might get the first. They'll get one back, but I think then it might be 1-1 at halftime, and then I think Garnacho will get one, and I think Rashford might get one off the bench then. So I'm going to go 3-1.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see that. I don't know if I can see as many goals. I don't know. It's a hard one because you've got so many moving pieces. Amorim's first game at Old Trafford, Malacia's first start, Mount's first start since I think obviously he was injured. So I think there could be a little bit of rustiness and a bit of a slow start in terms of tempo. You've got a lot of new players in there, which is nice, but because you have new players in there, they may face similar issues what the team faced against Ipswich, where he was a little bit confused at times, didn't quite know where to be at the pitch. So I actually will go. I think they may struggle with that at first, and Bodo might actually score first, and then we score a couple. So I'll go 2-1 United. 2-1. I think it's probably fair. And if anyone's going to get a yellow card, it's probably going to be Mount because he's aggressively pressing, or Ugarte.
Yeah,
I'll say.
Yeah, Ugarte. That's what I was going to say.
He's your new Casemiro, isn't he? He's guaranteed.
He is.
Yeah.
Guaranteed yellow.
But everyone else...
Bigger allocation too. The away
what?
fans, don't they? They have a bigger allocation than usual.
Yeah. So 6K and over, I think. They've got a massive yellow army there. They always turn up in numbers to Old Trafford, to be fair. A lot of the European teams who are coming from Cyprus or Turkey or wherever usually have a big following, so obviously they'll be supporting their players. But yeah, anyone who's just joining, please do hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 10,000, less than 1,500 away now from hitting that, so that's absolutely amazing. Can't wait to do that. And if you are new, then please do click the button in the bottom right hand corner of your screen. Apart from that, leave a like before you guys head off. We've got Jane Mary Amodin saying maybe 2-0. UTFR saying 3-0, Højlund, Mount, and Bruno. A lot of people going for clean sheets, which is I think is interesting. I don't know why. I just feel like we're going to concede. I just feel it in the back. Like
we always seem to.
Yeah, I don't think we've not kept one clean sheet, have we? Well, Pauk, we did. We beat them 2-0.
Yeah.
But apart from that, every other team's beat us. So, yeah, let's just see. Random guy saying if we beat Glimt with a 2-goal difference, he's going to gift 5 memberships. I will match that random guy. If we do that, I will also gift out if I can figure out how to do it. Because last time it wouldn't let me. But we will also gift 5. So if we beat with a total right. So if it's 2-0 or higher, 5 memberships, and we'll see us after the show. I think I can't remember who said he was on. I think it's me, Chive, Sam on the review. Speaking of the game, I think. Don't quote me on that, but there's a few of us who'll be discussing it. So hopefully we will see you there. Apart from that, enjoy the game. Big thank you to Adam for coming on. Always love it when he's on. I could talk forever, genuinely, but yeah, enjoy the game, and I don't know. Any final words, Adam, before we head off?
Let's just try and actually get another win in Europe. Just bring us up the table a bit. I want to see kind of green results across our form board. I don't want to see draws.
Yeah, agreed.
More W's, less D's.
More W's, less D's. Correct. And you can say that in any context that you want. Right.